Hello and welcome to Nollywood Film Club. I am Mr. C of Roco Critic. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, your eyes do not deceive you. This is a very short episode. I think our shortest yet. I think this is our shortest yet. I might have to go and double check. But yes, we did. We deviated a little bit from Nollywood today, and that might have some reason to do with why it is our shortest one yet. But hopefully, I still hope a fun conversation. Probably a relatively spicy pushback section, but a fun conversation all the less. Please do the regular podcast things if it's your first time. Rate the podcast, and I hope you enjoy Nollywood Film Club discussing Big Nunu's Little Heist. I guess we'll find out. I should do the introduction for the podcast.
The introduction.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nollywood Film Club. We do discuss Nollywood movies every Sunday on Nollywood Conversation. But today, we're actually taking a departure from that. We are discussing a non-Nollywood film. And we're going to see how it goes. We're discussing Big Nunu's Little Heist. Big Nunu's Little Heist is a South African film. It does. I can't remember. Somebody wrote and directed it. The same person. I don't mean like obviously somebody wrote it, but the same person wrote it.
It's obvious.
Yes.
And every film is written.
I'm saying the same person who wrote it directed it. I can't remember the person's name. But we will be discussing what we liked in the good. We'll discuss what we don't like in the bad, and if we have pushback, we'll do pushback. And then we'll do a summary. All right. We're a little low in attendance. We believe this is due to it being non-Nollywood, but we carry on because we're 2 or 3 are good. All right, Mrs. C.
Yeah.
What did you like about Big Nunu's Little Heist? Well, don't start like that.
Okay. So I guess I remembered something from like the phone call he was having with his boss, where we'd switch perspectives to seeing his boss versus to his boss being on the phone, and the sound changed accordingly. I thought that was nice. Some things did seem local. I'm assuming. I've never been to South Africa. I don't have an understanding of anything South African. But there's just sometimes you can see some things in a film and it feels like, oh, that feels kind of local. So I thought that was nice. What else did I like? Runtime, an hour and a half. Nothing too long. I can't remember anything else.
Yeah.
I can't judge the acting because
you can judge it as a non-South African speaker. Obviously, it's going to mean something different to somebody who's more local, but you can't judge it from your non-South African listening. What did the acting feel like?
Okay, so if I'm judging the acting, then I'll leave it for the next section.
Okay. Wow. All right. Okay, all right. What I liked about Big Nunu's Little Heist, I liked quite a few things about it. The tone I thought was quite consistent. I thought it really tried a lot of filmmaking. It did a lot of interesting things filmmaking wise. It tried so many different shots. It tried different things. I really appreciated the sound design. Sound design for me was so much better than anything. This is what I was talking about. I was like, I think during the gunshot scene, I was like, oh, that feels very much more visceral. When I'm hearing gunshots, I feel like I'm hearing more than 2 or 3 different. When I'm watching Nollywood, usually when I hear gunshots, I feel like I'm hearing the same 2 or 3 different types of sound effects, and they're played in the exact same way. And this one, there was like the ones that are whistling past. You can hear the different ones that are whistling past, the ones that are really close, the ones that are further apart. I liked that different, that kind of, that's both sound design and the mixing of that. Even in the explosions. There were some decent special effects in here. South Africa is clearly well ahead of us. So this was the thing I kept on doing whilst I was watching this. I was watching this and constantly comparing this to Nollywood. Um, I thought the acting from a couple of people were quite solid. Um, the babe was hot. I thought she was very attractive, and um when she did her "I'm going to be sexy" thing, I didn't cringe. I don't know why. Whether it's because she intentionally, I don't know. It felt like that tone of this is a comedy, but also I am somewhat taking this seriously. I thought it just matched that tone pretty well. Um, what else? I thought Nunu's voice was hilarious. It seemed uh, it's just such a interesting choice because when you see him, the way he's introduced, you think that he's going to be this big menacing guy, and he's a big dude. So you expect a deep voice, and he comes in with his tiny little voice is just I thought was quite funny. Um, um, what else? Yeah, there's some shots that I thought were interesting. I remember there's a picture of this guy sucking like bone marrow from the bone. That shot just stayed with me. I thought that was a interesting shot. So um, it's a simple enough story as well. It does what it needs to do for the most part. It's just it gets on with it. I think it has something to say towards the end. I didn't care about it because it just didn't seem, in all honesty, it didn't seem like it cared that much about it either. Or it might be that, or maybe I didn't watch it close enough, but it just seemed like it did want to be here for a fun time and not a deep time. Particularly. What else did I like? Yeah, you know what? There were different enough characters. The characters differentiated themselves enough. So I appreciated all of that. That was fun. I think overall, I generally I thought this was um perfectly fine, okay, throwaway popcorn movie. I think maybe should have been. I had a couple of chuckles here and there, and yeah, I thought it was okay. Generally, all right. Okay, so that's not bad. Um, Mrs. C. Let's pivot into what we don't like.
First of all, what's Timmy? Because he's the one that recommended this film, and I
Timmy,
can't see him anywhere.
Timmy has not
And
attended one of
all
these in
the
a long time. He
people that
listens.
voted for, because I see overall 22 votes. There must have been some people that voted Big Nunu. I'm not seeing them. But anyway, moving on. Very pivot to the bears.
Yeah, yes, I've already done that section.
Okay. All right. Cool. You enjoyed Nin? Oh wait, I have to say.
Good to. All right.
Thank you for calling the person who I need to fight. Me, right? Like, thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, tell us what you liked about Big Nina's Little House.
Honestly, the really only good thing that this movie did for me was that it made me miss Nollywood. And I found a good movie on Nollywood on YouTube after it. So that was
Wow.
good.
Wow. Okay. All right. Okay. Maybe you have pushback. We'll see. Anyway, let's pivot into the things we don't like.
You
I guess
said this in our
as it's what
intro. You said that you've learned that we shall like our own
suffer.
Yes, if we gotta suffer, let's suffer our own suffer.
Right. I don't think I don't think I suffered, to be honest, at all. All right, Mrs. C, go on. Oh, what did you not like?
You mentioned you enjoyed Nunu. I didn't. I don't know. I really didn't enjoy him. I found him kind of yeah. Also, if I'm gonna go about the acting, the guy who played the mafia character really just didn't enjoy him at all.
Which Mafia character?
His name is Mafia.
Okay.
The guy who was like the main antagonist for our lead, I guess. He was his main antagonist now. He was the guy who pointed gun at him first and the guy who kept trying to screw him over.
What are we talking about?
Mafia. He's one of Nunu's guys.
Oh, okay. All right,
yeah.
Sure. Okay.
So yeah, I didn't like him either. I also didn't enjoy the girl's whole shtick. I don't understand why you did. Maybe because you thought she was hot. But I didn't enjoy her whole shtick either. I didn't enjoy the comedy of Nunu's mom with the hanging of the big panties. I don't know, maybe there was a different film where that would have been funny. I didn't enjoy that. I didn't, remember when they cut off the stuff from the back of his jumpsuit, his uniform, and it spelled "will die"? I was disappointed that didn't pay off. I thought that was going to pay off with him dying. I thought that was going to be like a little tongue-in-cheek, foreshadowing, and he'd die.
No, he's the lead. He's not going to die.
Why not?
He's the lead.
He could die in the end.
Okay. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, he could die in the end.
Okay.
I thought that was going to be a little foreshadowy type of thing, but it felt like it didn't have any payoff, except for one bit. So there was that. I didn't enjoy the police characters. I don't like fat policewoman caricature of, I think it's supposed to be a comedic thing. I didn't enjoy that in this setting. Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe I feel like it's one of, in some ways, it's kind of supposed to be a story that could carry, but it also felt a little localized in a way that it didn't. I didn't enjoy much of the story. And they were trying to do a thing like with the stylized, shooting, and it was stylized, right? It was, some inspiration from Tarantino, God knows what. And I didn't enjoy that either.
Okay. Atas, what did you not like about Big Nunu's Little Heist?
All of it. The comedy, I don't think it was for me. The acting, I didn't enjoy his voice. At first I was watching with the voiceover, and the voiceover did make everyone's voice high pitched. So I thought that was what was happening with his voice as well. And then it wasn't. So that was unpleasant. I still don't even understand the shooting, or it felt like they were trying to do something. I think it was a stylistic choice, as some people like to say on this space, but it was not one that I enjoyed. I will say that I didn't connect with the story at all. And I don't think it really has. It just didn't work for me. It just didn't work for me. I didn't think the shooting was. I didn't even understand the shooting. Like, there's a scene towards the beginning where I guess he's showing off that he's a good shot, and I'm still not sure what exactly he was aiming at, and maybe that's the point. I don't know. I didn't like it. It made me miss knee. So
Wow, this is hot trash talk going on right now. Okay, I mean, everybody is entitled. I thought that this film was things I didn't enjoy. I thought the film was kind of almost overproduced. Whilst I said I enjoyed the different things, I don't think it always worked. In fact, a lot of times I think trying to do too many things without it really meshing together is probably the best way I can describe it. And what else? I don't know. I think that's the main thing. It's just like sometimes some jokes don't really land for me as well. But yeah, I think the main thing was just like it needed to just calm down sometimes. Just all right, relax with sometimes the editing, sometimes the shot. It just felt like one of those. Um, I'm trying to remember. Like, I'm trying to. Funny things like it reminds me a lot of about like some old school, not old school now actually, just Eliot's British comedy. This is sometimes they're stylized like this, but they're just done with a little bit more restraint. But I did find this just a little all over the place sometimes, and that's about it. And I mean, like it's just not. But I don't think it's trying to. It's not trying to do or say a lot. But yeah, I think that's the thing I didn't enjoy about it. I guess like one thing to say is that if some of the like filmmaking things don't work for you, you're going to have a harder time with this because again, the story is relatively simple, and if the comedy doesn't work for you, you're going to just struggle with just all parts of this. But anyway, we can move on to pushback things we disagree. Okay, I have a few. First off, um, uh, I thought to be honest, I thought the main guy was fine, very solid. Went about his business. I thought Nunu's thing, what he was doing, I thought it was a lot of times funny. It wasn't always hilarious, but I thought he did what he was supposed to do. And comparing this to Neve is crazy. That's crazy talk. Comparing this to Neve is crazy talk.
I didn't compare it to knee. I said it made me miss knee. So these are
Yeah,
two
well,
separate
that's
things.
why would you even that's crazy talk. Maybe
Because
this
it
knee is
was
crazy because
somehow more
I was gonna
painful
watch
than a
Nunu.
new movie. Okay? Like, what are you talking about? It was painful. Like, it was definitely trying to be something that it was not. When you even said the British comedy, it reminded me of American comedy, like in the 1920s, especially that scene. And you can see a lot of deliberate choices that they
20s.
make
Did you
that's
say
definitely old
1920s?
school action movies. Like,
Did you say
there's this
did you say
1920s.
1920s?
Yeah. Like you
Wow.
remember, did you remember the scene where they blew up that building and or one of many blow ups? But there's the one where there's a box just labeled fireworks and you just know what's going to happen. Because that's what they did in those movies where they would set up the Acme and then they set up the random fireworks that just happened to be there in boxes. And it's a whole thing. Like it was very contrived. I did not like it at all.
Contrived. I thought the story was rather very simplistic
I
and
don't care about the story. I'm talking about the way they chose to tell the story. I did not care enough about the story. It doesn't seem like they cared enough about the story. It felt like a lot of spectacle instead of focusing on the story to me, actually. And it was very distracting.
okay. I mean, I disagree with most of that. I just there's nothing. The funny thing is that there's all of. I think if I were ranking this on just doing things right, filmmaking wise, this is probably this is not. It's not probably. It's 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 definitely in the top three things that we've looked at in Nollywood this year.
First of all, this is not Nollywood.
But I'm just comparing it. No, making the comparison.
Yeah, no.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
No.
Okay. I don't know who you think you are. I'm making the comparison to Nollywood because we are Nollywood Film Club. That is the thing we do watch most of the time, and and especially because Otas had says that although like she's saying it makes it how long for me. I'm just reminding.
Yeah, no one
I'm
said
just
long for. She said
yeah.
miss.
Isn't that the same thing? Why are you being pedantic, Miss and whatever? The point is that the comparison between like this and something like there should be no comparison between this and a new work. The special effects done in this is if Nii could achieve what this film achieved in special effects, I would not complain about Nee's thing ever. We just watched. It's not this year. We watched Casa de Novia.
I enjoyed Casa de Novia a lot more than I enjoyed this. The comedy hit a lot better.
Exactly.
The comedy from Casa de Novia hit a lot better than the comedy here.
Yeah, okay, so one thing is comedy is obviously subjective, and that's going to work different for different people. And Casa de Novia is ironically bad. Like a lot of the things you enjoy aren't things that were meant to be enjoyed in the way you enjoyed it. So using that,
Ghost wasn't meant to be enjoyed.
You think they were like, let's put a naked ghost is going to give people laughs. You think that's what you think? Oh, that's what you thought when they put in a naked 100%. Ghost. All right, okay.
That's even why the ghost isn't it a ghost that asks, "Why am I naked?" Like it's clearly a conscious choice.
I know it's a conscious choice, but it's not there for laughs. It's not there to make you laugh. It's not there to make you go, "Oh, ha ha ha! This is funny."
Because why else would the ghost be naked?
It's just stupid, and it just go, "Oh, we are self-aware of the stupid thing we did," but it's still a stupid decision.
No, because they could have very well just put him in the clothes he died in. Why else would the clothes be naked?
It's just no. I'm telling you, because of a stupid decision. Like maybe it was there because it's like it's because like it's
and
part of
they called out the ghost
because it's supposed to be sex. It's probably because it's supposed to be a sexy ghost. That's probably why.
That's uncharitable. I think
you think that's uncharitable?
It's funny that he's naked because they never reference it again. It's like, hey, I'm naked, and it never makes sense. There's no reason why he's naked except for it to be funny that he's naked.
It didn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense. That's why it can't be that reason. That's the reason. Why it can't be because it didn't make sense. Casa de Novia. It didn't make sense. That's why
the comedy hit a lot better than in this. Even the intentional comedic bits hit a lot better than the intentional comedic
Don't speak to me. Don't speak to me like you're my teacher. I'll have you know. I'll have you know that the comedy hit a lot better. We're discussing our opinions. It's your opinion. It's your opinion.
Calling your attention. I was calling your attention.
Don't call my attention. I'm right next to you. But I think generally, anyway, the funny thing is that all I've been saying in this is that the filmmaking in this that's what I said when I was talking about. It's definitely in the top 3 of the things we've discussed. And you guys went into, the comedy hits better, which I said, yeah, comedy can hit differently for different people. That's fine. It's comedy. Comedy does do that. I would still say that the comedy in Casa de Novia, a lot of it is just based on unintentional things, like not green screening things in properly and having people constantly.
You're gonna tell me Annie was not funny?
Annie had intentionally funny moments. Definitely. I had a couple of chuckles in this, but I mean, like you did watch. To be honest, you watched this phone a little bit with your phone, and it's not in a language that you actually hear. So I don't know that you gave it all of that attention. To be honest, but I'm not saying that it doesn't mean that.
Don't we watch Yoruba movies all the time and movies in other languages that we need to follow the translation for?
I'm talking about Mrs. C. I'm talking about the person that was sat next to me. I'm just saying, like,
doesn't she watch other movies? Yeah, translated.
I'm talking about a comedy before I even went there. Before
how I watched it.
But it's something
about how I watched it. I assume you were not there when I watched it.
No. But it's part of it because, like, I remember when I watched Orisha, something like Orisha. When I watched it, one of the things I said is that I tell you straight up that I wasn't able to concentrate on it. I wasn't able to follow the film because it was just it kept on losing me, and I kept on phasing out. That's something I let people know because I don't know whether maybe if you wanted to accuse me of not paying attention and there's something inside the film that you like to.
I followed it enough. You can't tell how much attention I paid or didn't pay to this.
I was sitting right next to you.
I followed it enough. You can't.
It's not in a language you understand.
Tell how much attention I paid or didn't pay. I paid a lot more attention than you're insinuating I paid.
I'm not insinuating. In fact, I'm saying like it's possible you had exactly my reaction to Risa, where it was just so not whatever your thing is that you wanted to press your phone. That's actually part of the claim I'm making. But I think that the filmmaking in this was, that's the thing. It's not even I think. It is. The filmmaking in this is much better than a lot of the things that we do produce. It's not even comparable. That's the truth. It's not even comparable to some of the things that we have been putting out. The comedy, again, like I said in my bed, if you don't like the comedy, and you don't care for like filmmaking shots or anything, this is going to be quite bad and boring for you, especially if you're Nigerian. A lot of all the things that you would normally get from this, you're not going to be able to get from, and that's not going to sit well with you. But I just think that this, again, filmmaking wise, there's no comparison. That's why. But it is the new thing that I'm actually reacting to. But at the end of the day, to be honest, to each kind of their own. But I'm speaking for both. I guess I'm speaking for some of the people who might enjoy some of the things that are more who might enjoy things filmmaking wise, that kind of thing. But again, hopefully I'm giving you the key. If you don't care for like filmmaking things, and you don't generally like broad comedy, if you don't like broad comedy, I would stay away from this as well, because I think the comedy is generally quite broad as well in that sense. But anyway, that's
not broad. Comedy is badly done. Those are two different things.
You think why do you say the comedy is badly done?
Because it's just not funny. It's not the fact. It's not necessarily the kind of comedy it is, and maybe that like adds a credence to it, where it could be harder to follow. But I don't think this is necessarily that. I think that this one itself is just not very funny.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say comedy is just like some people have different tastes. If you're talking about the execution of something that was a comedy of a bit, so like again, like one of the things I mentioned was the introduction of Nunu. He's introduced. If you see the way he's introduced, it feels very specific. It feels like the point is that the way they introduce him and his appearance, it seems like he should have. Your expectation is that he should have this big hoarse boss voice, and the fact that he has this tiny. Again, I don't know. You listen to the voiceover thing. So I don't know whether that would have translated.
I ended up listening to the original translation as well. But so there's another movie that has done that same specific thing with what's his name, Bucci, when he starts speaking Queen's English, and that that was funny.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I'm saying that's a similar setup, though.
Those are similar kinds of comedy.
That's absolutely fine. That's perfectly fine to come. I can even understand somebody finding his voice grating. I found that setup and the punchline of the voice. I found that was well done. You set him up. Hey, big guy, this thing, but the voice that's coming out, it's a little tiny. It's just squeaky, and just that there were I just found them this gang that had all these big dreams to be so incompetent at like doing gang stuff and bad things. I just found that premise funny enough. I'm with you guys in that it wasn't always funny, but I do think they set up jokes were set up and they were delivered. whether you find them funny or not. But that's why I was asking whether there's a particular thing that you remember, like set up poorly or wasn't executed well in terms of the comedy bits, because like, you know, you're making a stronger statement in that this wasn't done well. That's why I was asking. Anyway, if there is no other pushback, let's do a summary. I predicted 40 minutes. Oh my god. Atas, you want to give us your summary for Big Nunu's Little Heist?
Not my favorite South African thing. And yeah, that's it. Really didn't like it.
Can I ask, do you have a South African film or kind of thing that you do like? What something you would recommend?
I would have to think about that a little more, but primarily as far as like comedy shows I have watched that are funny, the one I remember the most is the Christmas one. But I've seen a few of them. I would have to go look in my history.
Okay. How to Ruin Christmas? Is it How to Ruin Christmas? Is that
but the first one, not the second one.
Okay, the first one and the second one. Okay. Mrs. C, do you want to give us your summary?
I didn't enjoy this. That's my summary. I didn't enjoy this. I mean, if you, Mr. C has talked about, you know, some of the good production stuff and technical stuff that was there, but I didn't enjoy the comedy, and I couldn't really get into the story. I will admit to a bit of I didn't really feel like watching a South African film anyway, considering current climate. But that aside, I also just didn't enjoy it.
All right. I didn't. I actually thought this was all right. I thought it was fine, perfectly passable, not life changing, but like it feels like quite the Netflix film. It feels like one of those things you watch and you just, oh, okay, that's all right. That's a good time. You never think about it again. But I think that was what I was going for. I don't think it was particularly that ambitious, except for, I think it had some really big, some big technical achievements. I think that the explosion of the house, I thought that was done all right. Yeah, I thought it was perfectly passable, to be honest. So if you don't mind South African things, I would recommend a soft recommend. So do with that what you will. All right, but yeah, that's Big Nunu's Little Heist. That was a nice, quick Nollywood Film Club. That was a good one. So, but thanks, guys. Thanks, Atas. Thank you, Shodi.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
We will see you next week. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the episode. If you enjoyed listening and would like to join live, just follow us on Twitter at IrokoCritic and join us every Sunday, 6 p.m. West African time on our spaces.